Hi, I'm Steve, the Introverted Traveler. I've made it my mission in life to explore the beaches, deserts, mountains, and even cityscapes around us, and to do so while avoiding contact with as many people as possible. And although I will never hang out with you for any reason, I do invite you to join me on my journey. Come and see the world through the eyes of an extreme introvert. On this edition, we are hiking to the summit of Cook Hill on the Washington state side of the Columbia River Gorge. Along the way, we will bumble across creeks, make our way through lovely forests, and take in breathtaking volcanic views. All this and much more on this Introverted Travels. Greetings, and I'm back yet again on yet another adventure. And today, well, guess what? Today, it's Saturday. And I know what you must be thinking. You're thinking to yourself, but Introverted Traveler, I thought you were a Sunday hiker. And the answer to that is yes. On most weeks, I am indeed a Sunday hiker. However, you have to keep something very important in mind. For the past 18 months, somewhere around there, probably closer to 5 or 6, but I lost track after the first couple of days. A dark cloud has descended across the Pacific Northwest and has cast a shadow of darkness. So for almost every Sunday that I can remember, because I can only remember like 4 or 5 Sundays back, it has been dark, it has been foggy, it has been misty, it has been gloomy, it has been rainy, it has been icy, and otherwise it's been all sorts of forms of, well, grim reapery. And frankly, I am tired of getting rained on, getting snowed on, slipping through the mud, slipping through the haze, slipping through the fog, just basically slipping all over the place in bad weather. It's getting tiring, and we are in the first week of April. And guess what? Once in a while now, days are popping up in which the cloud of darkness thins just enough for a little bit of glow from something I believe scientists call it the sun. It's not something that we see normally here in the Pacific Northwest, but I have heard tale of it. And today, well, I'm in the shade, but there's a little bit of sunlight over there. I think there's a little bit there. Now, mind you, there's still a semi-thick cover of haze in the sky, and we're getting like truncated sunlight. But tomorrow, according to the wonderful, beautiful weather forecast, it is supposed to go back to the tears from the gods in heaven, aka rain. And frankly, I needed a break. I wanted to have one hike where I didn't end up grumpy and soaking wet. I wanted to have one hike where I ended up grumpy and actually dry and relatively warm. I mean, the grumpy part's still in there, but I mean, have you seen any of my videos? Have you seen me lately? Hence, that is why I decided to do the very rare and hardly ever seen Saturday hike. Today I am once again out in the Columbia River Gorge doing something called the Cook Hill Loop. For those of you who have seen some of my past videos, the 1 or 2 of you that enjoy self-punishment and don't mind the pain, you may have seen the one in which I went to Dog Mountain. Now, Dog Mountain is actually, well, it's over there through the trees somewhere. But it's one mountain over, and this is the mountain right next to it. Dog Mountain, for those of you not in the know, is literally the worst hike in the Columbia River Gorge. It may actually be the worst hike in the history of all hikes. I mean, there are so many people infesting Dog Mountain that I'm pretty sure Dog Mountain is the answer to, Mommy, Daddy, where do babies come from? They don't come from a couple who are in love. They literally come from a patch of pods that grow on the side of Dog Mountain. And as you're hiking, occasionally these pods will pop open and a fresh new hiker will come into the world, open its eyes, go goo goo gaga, and then look at you and go, hello, good morning, can I hike with you? Small talk, small talk, small talk. But the Cook Hill Loop, thankfully, is not Dog Mountain. As I said, it's right next to Dog Mountain. It's got many of the same views as Dog Mountain. But when I got to the trailhead, I had to pass Dog Mountain to get there. And there were literally, I believe there were probably infinity cars at the Dog Mountain trailhead. There were at least 50. And to me, that's such a large number that I just have to use the infinity sign. But there were tons of people at the Dog Mountain trailhead. And unfortunately, there were actually quite a few cars at the Cook Hill trailhead as well. But it's a much smaller trailhead. So there was probably only about, I don't have enough hands for this, but that many 10. Now, when you do the introverted math on that, unfortunately, it's 4 people per car times the number of cars, which I said was about 10, and you may or may not have 40 people on this hike. And yes, that is vomit-inducing, that is cringeworthy, but it's still not Dog Mountain. But today, I am going to do about an 8.5 mile loop, but that is according to the abomination that is All Trails. All Trails has never, ever, in the history of using All Trails, has never, ever, that I've seen, been correct about the mileage of a hike. It could be 8.5 miles. That is theoretically possible. Or it could be 80 miles. Now, why has All Trails never been right about the mileage on a hike? Well, the answer to that, my friends, is simple. It's because, and here's the part where you take your shot, you fill out your bingo card, you pay your psychic, because they predicted I would say this. All Trails sucks. Now that I've dropped the All Trails sucks bomb, I think I might be done. I mean, I've talked about where I am. I've talked about why I'm doing it on a Saturday. I've talked about the weather, kind of babbled about the weather for like 5 minutes. And I went on a huge rant about why Dog Mountain sucks and where babies come from. But literally, there are pods in a giant field on Dog Mountain, and they just pop open, and there's people in there. There's people. Dog Mountain is made of people. And I think I'm done. I think that's your introduction section for today. So I'm going to go ahead and get going. I'm going to go to the top, and hopefully we'll avoid people. We'll be able to see views, and we'll go, ooh, ah. And then, as usual, I'll see people, and I'll go, ah, and I'll run. I knew this hike was missing something. Soaking wet shoes and socks. Oh, that's just a gift that keeps on giving right there. You gotta love creek crossings. It's like the spice on top of the lasagna, you know? It just gives it the chef's kiss. Great. I'm gonna go squish my way up the trail now. Well, speaking of middle-aged challenges, check this out. All right, so there are 2 downed trees here. One of them, I can just simply skip over. That's fine. I can just take my foot, and yes, there's going to be some groaning and creaking, and my hip is probably going to hurt, but I can just get right over it. The other one, however, is going to require bending. So, my ever-aging skeleton is going to have to go down just a little bit. My vertebrae are going to bulge. Sacks in my back are more than likely going to pop. And I'm going to bitch, moan, whine, and complain. So I'm going to let you see all of it. So yeah, let's rearrange the GoPro here. Let me see. And let's play my favorite game. Middle-aged pain theater. All right, there you go. You can see me. And here we go. All right, I'm approaching the log. Oh boy. Oh yeah. Oh, I can feel the hernia. Oh yeah, there goes one vertebrae. Okay. I think I'm internally hemorrhaging, but now I have to hop over that thing right there. So let's go do it. All right, climb up here. All right, I have to lift one leg. Oh, creaking, groaning, and I think I made it. I have survived yet another log, and I am going to live to tell the tale. It's going to be a whiny and complaining tale, but hey, at least I have something to talk about. unfortunately, I have a decision to make, and I am the world's worst decision maker ever. Well, okay, Donald Trump is probably the world's worst decision maker ever, but he's bad at everything. Me, I have my moments, but right now, I have to choose what direction I take to go up to the summit. On the left, we've got clockwise. It says Cook Hill Summit, 2.8 miles. Okay, well, that's almost 3 miles, so that's fine. We could go up that way, or we could go this way, which, as the sign very helpfully says, is counterclockwise. See, right there. Right there. It says counterclockwise. But it also says Cook Hill Summit, 1.6 miles. So, either 2.8 miles that direction, or 1.6 miles in this direction. However, just like size itself doesn't matter, distance doesn't always matter either, because in this particular case, according to the topographic layout on all trails, because it gives you a little map that shows you how steep something is, that is much longer, but it's a little bit flatter grade. This way is, of course, shorter by over a mile, but it is steeper. And although I usually don't consider the comment sections on all trails, because literally it is filled with weird, paranoid, scared, and usually totally incorrect comments. But in this particular case, somebody says go counterclockwise because, yes, it's shorter, it goes faster, it's a lot steeper, and it's more interesting views-wise. All Trails, of course, wants to take me in this direction. Now, All Trails has a nice track record of taking me places where there's absolutely no views, taking me to places that make absolutely no sense whatsoever, and then just sort of leaving me there and going, okay, you're here. What are you going to do about it? I mean, that's what All Trails does. So I have to make a decision. Am I going to follow what the map wants me to do and head left and go clockwise? I can tell you it's going to be steep either way, because it's been steep, and it's literally just steep, and then you go back down, and that's when the fun begins, because I've already covered that I'm middle-aged and going downhill is second only to hell. But do I want to go counterclockwise? Do I want to do shorter but steeper? I mean, it will go faster, but then I'll be going down the 2.8 miles, and I'll be going downhill, and that will be more pain and more suffering, but more bitching, complaining, and more content being made on my GoPro. So it's quite the conundrum, and I'm not sure what I'm going to choose yet. I mean, I like steep and I like short, but I also like long and plodding. So what should I do? What would you do? And while I was trying to make my decision, I just got passed by another human. But in this particular case, that human had 2 dogs. So again, we'll do the introverted math. The soul-sucking presence of humans is canceled out by the uplifting, wonderful presence of dogs. And 2 dogs cancel out 1 person. And all I saw was 1 person with 2 dogs. And thus, using dog calculus, I didn't see any people at all. I just saw 2 dogs just randomly wandering through the woods. And that was wonderful. But I also think I've made my decision. I'm going to head counterclockwise. Okay, never mind. I changed my mind. I'm going to do the other one because I realize that I'm going to be doing more uphill, longer by doing that way. And as I said, I actually like going uphill. So, although I like steeper and shorter too, but I don't know. I'm conflicted. I'm just going to choose one direction and head in it, because otherwise I'm going to be out here all day. Well, I wouldn't say I'm making good time, but I'm making time. I'm making progress. My little dot on my map is moving ever so slowly up the path. And eventually, no, maybe not for a couple more years, but eventually I will make it to the peak. However, I want to congratulate myself on choosing the correct path, because although I am going the longer and a little bit less steeper way up to the summit, this is also the less people-y way. I haven't seen anybody. I saw people going on the other direction, the steeper and the shorter route. Haven't seen anybody coming down. Haven't seen anybody going up. I'm alone in the woods. And although that's scary, not because I'm alone in the woods, but if you were to walk through the woods and encounter me in the woods, well, that's scary for all parties involved. But it's wonderful because I've got solitude, I've got silence. And when you contrast this to the mountain next door, the neighboring mountain, Dog Mountain, I mean, it's just like two different worlds. There's actually sanity and happiness. And I'm enjoying this hike. I mean, the hike I did on Dog Mountain, I literally wanted to set myself on fire and jump off a cliff. This one, no pyro urges, no urge to jump off anything, no suicidal tendencies whatsoever, nothing, absolutely nothing. I may be happy. And it's always weird when that happens because, I mean, that happens maybe once every decade for like 20 seconds. And I don't know what positive feelings are like. It's weird. It's like I'm miserable, but I'm not miserable. Is that what happiness feels like? Now, mind you, there are people up going towards the peak, so I know that whatever small level of joy and happiness I have is quickly and efficiently going to be crushed and shredded into pieces because of the presence of other human beings. But at the moment, there may be a small spark of joy in the otherwise joyless void that is my existence. And there's a little bit of truncated sunshine. I mean, there's still quite a bit of haze in the atmosphere, but I've got a little spark of joy, and there's sun. Well, that seals it. I'm totally going to die, and I'm going to die in a horrific way because, I mean, the universe isn't going to let me be happy. I mean, it's going to probably send a Bigfoot after me next, or a bear, or a rabid Washington State hippie. But there is something that's going to happen. The other shoe is about to drop, and when it does, it's going to crush me. I mean, these are literally the thoughts that happen whenever there's any spark of positivity within my heart whatsoever. I get a little spark of joy in my psyche, and the next thing you know, it's doom, gloom, and we're all gonna die. But hey, that's hike day. I was gonna say it's Sunday hike day, but it's not. It's actually Saturday hike day, but hike day is hike day, and misery is misery, and, well, I'm pretty miserable. So I'm gonna take my small amount of joy, and I'm gonna prod my way up to the summit, and then have that joy quickly dashed by the presence of other humans. Well, I think I may have figured out the way the universe is gonna snuff me out. The wind is blowing just slightly, just a little bit. The breeze is barely blowing, and the trees are going like they're threatening to fall over type of creaking. And it would make total sense. I mean, in the last video segment, I talked about how I have a little tiny bit of happiness because I'm out here all by myself. I haven't been bothered by another human being in this dense, pretty, moss-covered forest. I have solitude, I have happiness. So how is the universe going to punish me? Because if I'm happy, the universe is not happy. So, which one is it going to be? Is it going to be that big, tall, dead-looking one right there? Is it going to be that one with the moss? Is it going to be that one with the moss? Is it going to be... Okay, they all have moss, so it's going to be one of these. So all the happiness will be squished, all the solitude, and the universe and all of harmony will once again be back in balance. See the weird, demented, dark thoughts that go through my head. I mean, I can't just say, oh yeah, I'm alone and I'm happy. No. I have to go on a probably what's now a 5-minute diatribe about how, yeah, I might be a little bit happy, but everything's out to get me. I mean, that's just hike day. This is just how I hike. I mean, I could elaborate, but no, this is just my hiking abilities. Some people use poles. I use death and despair. I knew it. I knew that I was not going to be allowed to be just basically happy for a little period of time. No, I knew that the equation had to be evened and that the balance had to be restored, and I had to return to my miserable state of existence. And you know how the universe did it? Well, it didn't crush me with a tree. No, 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 no. That would have been way too quick and too much mercy. No, instead, it sent a herd. I mean, literally, it was like, there were like 12 to 13 to 14 people. They all had gear on. They all had poles. There were no children, thank goodness. But it was that dreaded thing that all hiking introverts fear. We literally tell camp stories about encountering a hiking club. There were good mornings. There were hellos. They tried to make eye contact. Now, luckily, I just stood there and stared off creepily into space, and they pretty much just left me alone and kept their distance, but still. I just passed them about 3 minutes ago, and I can still feel their presence. So yes, to my fellow hiking introverts, the legends are true. The cautionary horror tales are real. They're out here in the woods. They're hiking just like us, but they're doing it as a group. There's nothing more dreaded and horrifying than a hiking club. I mean, great white sharks, I'll swim with them all day long. Lions on the prairie, I'll dance right in front of them. Tigers, I'll go and give one a hug. But a hiking club, so yeah, now I've got that trauma to deal with. Thank you very much, universe. All right, so there's a few things to note here. First of all, I'm at the summit. How do I know I'm at the summit? Well, it's flat up here, and I'm no longer doing this. I'm no longer going up a mountain like this. No, I'm just kind of chilling at the top here. But a couple of things. First of all, there's some views of the Columbia River Gorge. It's mostly power lines and tree stumps, and there's the river and some mountains and stuff in the background. That's very cool. Dog Mountain, the worst hike in the Columbia River Gorge, is somewhere over there. I don't know. It's a terrible hike. I don't care where it is. But of note, a couple of really good views up here. First of all, there's a cell phone tower. I have been wondering this entire hike why I've gotten good reception. Well, guess what? There's a cell phone tower. And really, it's not that weird. If you've watched any of my past videos, especially the ones from the Bay Area in California, you'll know that they like to put cell phone towers on top of mountain peaks. I mean, it makes sense, but you're out in the forest, you're going through this beautiful area, you're going through nature, you're like, oh, this is gorgeous, and then you get up to the top of the peak and cell phone tower. But there you go. At least I can be on Instagram and YouTube the entire time that I'm hiking. I don't have to deal with any of that pesky nature stuff. I can cruise the net as I'm hiking, thanks to the wonderful cell tower. Okay, so that's stupid idiot thing number one that I'm pointing out. But I didn't realize this. I knew that this gives good views of the gorge, but I didn't realize that up here, let me go over here and I will show you what I'm looking at, because it was worth climbing up here just for this. There's Mount Adams right there. Wonderful, beautiful, glorious Mount Adams. That's a volcano right there. And it's early spring or maybe mid-spring. It's early April, so what is that? Is that mid-spring? I mean, I guess it depends on the region. I think this is kind of mid-spring-ish for us. But the volcano's still covered in snow. And it's absolutely gorgeous when it's covered in snow. I mean, look at that. And that's my favorite volcano out of all the volcanoes. I mean, Mount St. Helens obviously blew its top, so it has anger issues. Mount Hood just seems snooty to me. It's just like it's the tallest peak in Oregon. It's like, I'm taller than all of you. Oh. Mount Rainier scares the crap out of me. But Mount Adams seems chill. It's just sitting over there being all volcanic and stuff. And that is pretty cool. We're gonna have one last look at wonderful, beautiful, glorious Mount Adams. And if that cell tower and the trees over there weren't in the way, we could probably more than likely see Mount Rainier from here. But nature be naturing, and nature is once again in my way. So instead of trying to have a knife fight with nature over views, I'm gonna go in that general direction. Because I'm not exactly sure where the trail is. I have to look at the map, but it's over there somewhere, and it's going to take us back down. So we're at a turnaround point. There's a volcano back there. There's a cell tower back there, and there's an introvert going that way. So let's go that way. Well, this is quite a treat. This is why I come out on sunny days when you can actually see stuff. I don't know if you can see it to the trees there, but there's our beloved Mount Hood right there. The highest and snobbiest point in Oregon. Well, here is the Columbia River Gorge side of the hike. Unfortunately, we are pointed like directly into the sun. But I am like the world's worst cameraman anyways, and I'm pretty sure that those who watch these videos, they're used to me pointing things towards the sun. But as you can see, it is gorgeous. It is beautiful. I think that may be Dog Mountain right over there. I mean, again, I know nothing about nothing, and I don't know where I am most of the time. Look, I don't even know where I am when I have a map, for heaven's sakes. So that very well could be Dog Mountain, the inferior, awful, terrible Dog Mountain. And unfortunately, there are people over there in the bushes, somewhere over there, having their lunch and going ooh and ah. But compared to the Dog Mountain hike, this is heaven. This is a dream come true. And I'm here on a Saturday, on a sunny Saturday. This, in theory, could be the busiest day of the year, because this is like the first time we've had in weeks and months to have, you know, beautiful sunshine on the weekend. But there's no one here. They're all over at Dog Mountain getting the inferior views. You can't see Mount Adams from Dog Mountain. You can see Mount Hood, but you can see that from my house. I mean, come on. But yeah, that's where I am today. And this is what I'm doing. Making fun of Dog Mountain because I freaking hate Dog Mountain. But yeah, there's Mount Hood. There's the gorge down there. There's something with snow on it. More than likely Mount Defiant. I think I pointed that out earlier. And then there's the rest. And of course, somewhere in that direction is Portland. But we'll pretend that doesn't exist. See, I knew this would happen. I literally told you that this would happen. I'm now going downhill. I'm going down the steep part. This is the steeper hill that I decided not to come up. So now I've got to go down the steeper hill, and my knees are aching. The heel on my left foot hurts. I'm hearing creaking. I'm hearing eking. I haven't heard snapping yet, but it's just a matter of time. But if I start hearing like snapping and then squishing, call an ambulance. But yeah, This is the reality of being a middle-aged hiker. It's not uphills that will kill you. I can go up this thing all day long. It feels good. It stretches the calves. My foot doesn't hurt. Everything's good. But put it in reverse. Oh, literally every step I take feels like I'm walking on broken glass. The knees hurt. The legs hurt. The brain hurts. Aging is not for wimps, folks. Aging is only for the brave. And unfortunately, I'm only 45. It's not gonna get any better from here. So I am back to this area. This was indeed my Sophie's choice moment. And actually, I probably chose fine. I mean, I could have done that big steep hill, and I will tell you, it sucked to walk down. And this would have been easier, so maybe I should have gone that way. But I am content with my life choices, at least for this hike. I'm not content with my life choices in general. No, I make for an absolute sucky adult. The debt that I carry and the broken trail of tears and hearts that I've left behind me, well, those speak for themselves. But as far as hiking decisions go, this wasn't a bad one. I mean, it was okay. If you can handle going down big terrain, and I probably should have used the poles, but I didn't want to get them out. I'm kind of lazy sometimes. So, yeah, we are back, and that means I still have about 2 miles down in that general direction. Wonderful. Oh, and there's a weird bird thing in the woods. I mean, I'm in southern Washington. It's filled with cougars and weird bird things. And I'm pretty sure the weird bird things eat the cougars. This is where we are. And I'm headed back to my cars. All right. So, according to wonderful, beautiful, want to drop it down a well and leave it there all trails, I've got a little under 2 miles left on this hike, and thus a little under 2 miles back to the trailhead, and a little under 2 miles back to my car, and back to my ability to get into my car and, well, frankly, to get the hell out of here. So I think it is time for us to do our trail rating. If you've never seen one of my videos before, first of all, where the hell have you been? And also, I'm sorry. But we rate our trails on a scale of 1, there we go, of 1 to 10. It's an introversion scale, with 1 being the equal to the worst possible scenario that there is for an introvert. And that, of course, is Disneyland on the 4th of July. And that is a day in which the Matterhorn has literally melted. There are abominable snowmen all over their bodies are just floating there, hairy and bobbing and soaking wet. Mickey, Minnie, Daisy, Donald, and the other weird cartoon freaks, they've gotten jet skis, and they put on some of the garb from the Pirates of the Caribbean, and they've got like pirate swords, and they are terrorizing the tourists on jet skis. It's like Waterworld, even though Waterworld is a Universal property. It's like Waterworld over there at Disneyland on the 4th of July. There are explosions, there's screaming, there's children crying, and the price of churros just keeps rising. It's actually about $500 million now, just for one churro. The Scout's honor. I was never a scout. But there's noises, there's people talking, there's people crying, there's screaming, that is what I call introvert hell. On the reverse end of the incredibly stupid scale that I'm describing is a 10, and that is equal to just you and your sentient, government-created, intelligent, human-eating penguins. They're everywhere. They've taken over the entire ice area where you are stationed, but they see you as their king and as their leader. So you're safe. But if anybody else dares to come within even 50 miles of your penguin compound, oh boy, there's going to be bloody beaks, my friend. There's going to be bloody beaks. But that means you have solitude, you have silence, you have love, you have joy. And to me, that's introvert nirvana. That is heaven on earth. So, on that incredibly stupid and a little bit dark and weird scale, between 1 and 10, this hike is about, I'm gonna give it probably a 5.5 or a 6. There were long stretches where I had nothing but solitude. I had nothing but happiness. I didn't see anybody. But then that was punctuated by a hiking club. And I literally saw just 12 people in a row, and they're like, hello, good morning, hi, how are you? Oh. So, unfortunately, because I saw the mythical, legendary creature known as the hiking club, all of us introverts fear it. We tell our introverted children tales of it when they're growing up to scare them into complying and behaving. But apparently, it's not just a legend anymore. The hiking club is real. But because the hiking club is real, and because there are hiking clubs in this world and out here on this trail, I have to deduct points. However, what I will say is, this is a great alternative. If you were in the Columbia River Gorge area, if you're in the Portland area, or actually this is on the Washington side, so if you're in the southern Washington area and you want to go on a hike that has wildflowers and views and volcanoes, etc., 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 and you don't want to go to the terrible, horrible, no good, very bad, awful hellscape that is Dog Mountain, Cook Hill. It's got everything Dog Mountain offers without all the people. And that leads me in to our misery index. And that is a measure of my own misery during this hike. Miserable because I just stuck that camera in the sun. That scale goes from 1 to 5. 1 is complete fiction, and that would be no misery. And look at me, even if this is the first time you've ever seen me, I mean, do I look like I have any days when I'm not at least just a tad bit miserable? Trust me, I am misery personified. So I can never have no misery. But the extreme end of that scale is a 5, which is the worst misery you could ever possibly experience. And unfortunately, and Dog Mountain is actually a very, very good example of this. Sometimes I completely destroy that scale and it becomes a 5 gazillion because people are miserable. And when I have to deal with more than 1 or 2 on the trail, like a hiking club, my misery just explodes. And indeed, during the hiking club incident, and we are calling it an incident and it needs to be investigated because how could that happen? I was fairly miserable, probably about a 5 gazillion. And yes, that is a new word that I invented just to describe the level of misery that I was experiencing with that hiking club. But fortunately, the hiking club only lasted half a minute. I mean, it was a long line. It was like watching a train of people go by, but it was a flash in the pan. And then I was back to my quiet solitude, my wonderful silent forest, and all was well again. So in general, on average during this hike, I've been around probably a 2.5 to a 3. So let's just set it at 2.5, which is usually my default. So I haven't been too miserable, and let's rate this trail at about a 6. Let's be fair with it. Put it about a 6, and yeah, that's where we are on the scales today. All right, so according to wonderful, beautiful, I'd like to trade it for some magic beans, all trails, I have a little less than a mile before I'm back at the trailhead, and thus a little less than a mile before I'm back at my car, before I'm back and can get into my car, and before I'm back and can get into my car and can get the hell out of here. So I think that means that it is time for us to say our goodbyes. But before we do, let's do a quick recap. So today we are out trampling around Cook Hill on the Cook Hill Loop. It is right next to the literal worst hike in the Columbia River Gorge, aka Dog Mountain. But Cook Hill has turned out to be one of the better hikes here in the Columbia River Gorge. Why? Well, we hardly saw any people. We saw some people, unfortunately, but there was hardly anybody out here. And along the way, we got to see wildflowers, we got to see great views, we got to see thick, dense, beautiful forests, and overall, we got calm, we got love, we got solitude, and we got introverted. I don't know what else I'd want in a hike. I mean, that was just wonderful. It was beautiful. But now it is time for us to part. And it is time for me to say, and you know what's coming, stay introverted, everyone. And of course, I'll see you in the next adventure.